Donald Trump may have bigger problem than anyone is really talking about. So, what's interesting? Everyone keeps talking about elections, polls, approval rating, and campaign rallies. But I think there's something much bigger happening behind the scenes that a lot of people aren't paying attention probably to this kind of problems. But pay attention to this. According to the recent political reporting and commentary, one of the biggest concerns surrounding Donald Trump isn't just whether Republicans keep control of the Congress. It's actually what could happen if they don't. Here's why. If Republicans lose control of the House after the midterm elections, then Democrats would gain power to launch investigations, issue subpoenas, hold hearings, and request documents. That's not speculations. That's simply how congressional oversight works when the majority changes totally. Political commentator Molly Joggan-Fast argued that this possibility is one of Trump's biggest concern. She pointed to reporting suggesting that Donald Trump is deeply worried about investigation if Republicans no longer control the House. That's what he's really scared of. Now, whether you agree with the assessment or not, it's worth asking why this issue keeps coming up again and again. Think about Trump's second term so far, how it's really going. Almost every week, there's another legal fight, another legal court case, another ethic question, another lawsuit, another controversy dominating the headlines every single time. Instead of talking mainly about economic policy or infrastructure, Washington often seems consumed by investigation and political battles over and over again. That creates a very different political environment around it. Now, here's the reality. When a president spends so much time dealing with legal and political controversies, it becomes harder to keep the national conversation focused on policy achievements totally. Now, the people who support him, they will argue these investigations are politically motivated. But the people who don't support him, they will argue necessary because nobody, not even a president, should be above oversight. That's the debate America is having right now. But there's another reason this matters a lot. House Republicans currently control the chamber by a relatively small margin. That exactly means almost every important vote becomes incredibly difficult. Party leaders have to keep nearly everyone so united. One disagreement can derail major legislation. If Republicans lose even a handful of seats in the next election, the entire balance of power changes totally and everything will look upside down. So that's why analysts believe there's growing concern inside Republicans' leadership. Now, it's not just about winning another election here. It's something else. It's about maintaining control over what Congress is able to investigate. Now, let's be fair. Every president worried about losing Congress, and that's normal. This isn't unique to Donald Trump at all. This happened to every president. When presidents lose the House, investigations almost always increases instantly. We've seen that happen under multiple administrations from both political parties. Doesn't matter what kind of political party you support. The difference critics argue is that Donald Trump enters a period with far more ongoing legal and political controversies that most presidents have ever faced. That naturally raises the stakes on this. Now, that's exactly why this thing is getting so much attention everywhere. Now, another point people are discussing is the strategy. Some political analysts believe Republicans will become more aggressive in defending their majority because they know that's potentially at stake. Expect stronger campaign messaging, expect more fundraising like all the time, expect more attack between the parties, the both parties, because neither side sees this as an ordinary election anymore. They see it as probably a fight over who controls investigations, hearing, congressional oversight for next 2 years from now on. That's an enormous amount of political power right there. So here's something that often gets overlooked almost all the time. Public perception matters almost as much as legal outcome. Even when investigations don't immediately produce major consequences, they dominate the headlines. I'm talking about the major headlines. They keep politicians answering the questions over and over again. They shape public opinion. They influence elections. That's why both parties fight so hard over control of Congress. It's not only about passing laws. It's also about controlling what becomes the biggest story of every week. For Trump, that means every controversy becomes magnified. Every court appearance, every lawsuit, every ethic question, every congressional hearing. This is what I'm talking about. Now, each one has potential to become front page news major news. Whether you're a supporter or probably you don't support, it's impossible to deny that Donald Trump remains one of the most scrutinized political figure in the modern American history. Now, his supporters see that scrutiny as unfair and politically motivated. But the people who don't support him, it's the consequences of his own actions and decisions. That's two perspective continues to define American politics today. So when analysts say Trump is worried about Republicans losing the House, each one has potential to become front page news, major news. Whether you're a supporter or probably you don't support, it's impossible to deny that Donald Trump remains one of the most scrutinized political figure in the modern American history. Now, his supporters see that scrutiny as unfair and politically motivated. But the people who don't support him, it's the consequences of his own actions and decisions. That's two perspective continues to define American politics today. So when analysts say Trump is worried about Republicans losing the House, they are really talking about something much bigger. What's really happening behind the scene? They're talking about oversight. They're really talking about investigations, what Donald Trump is really afraid of. They're talking about political power, because once control changes the hands, the question being asked in Washington can change dramatically. So in the end, this particular story isn't something about Donald Trump. It's about how American government really works. Control of Congress determines not only which bill moves forward, but also who has the authority to investigate the executive branch. That's why every seat matters. That's why every election matters a lot. And that's why political analysts believe the next congressional battle could have consequences far beyond ordinary politics that history could ever witness. Whether those predictions turn out to be correct remains to be seen. Now, but one thing is very certain. The fight for control of the House has become one of the most important political stories heading into the next election cycle. And everyone is paying attention on that. Just let me know in the comments below, what do you think? What Donald Trump is going through? Should he go through this, or probably do you support him or you oppose him? I just want to know in the comments below. Thank you. See you in the next video, and subscribe and stay updated for more important updates. What's really happening inside the Congress, inside the White House, and how America is dealing around the world. Thank you. See you in the next video.